In this video, I'm going to be digitizing some text and showing you some alternative ways to do that and an alternative to digitizing also. So we're going to start with project, create from image, and I'm going to load some text in. I've got this one here that says pattern party. Okay. And we're going to be going to do this as a latch hook rug, but you can, the same thing applies, the same things apply to, any craft that you're doing. Okay, so we're going to pick this particular chunky yarn here. Paint box yarn, simply chunky yarn, and that's it's going to digitize it. We're going to pick up our grid size down here. Since we're doing a latch hook rug, we're going to set it to latch hook, 5 mesh, save our changes. Okay, and now that's a little big, so let's make this 24 inches. So that's going to come to be 125 by 120 by 85. Okay, now there you might find other ways to do this, but what I have found that consistently works for me is to go down to the digitization type, change it to smooth. And since we're dealing with basically two colors, we want to end up with two colors. What I would do is I would use least used. If you want to use fewer colors, I would use least used. Okay. But if we go up here and we set this to our two colors, we're going to miss a lot of what's going on in these words here. And just to show you this, here's the original image here with pattern party on it. This is the same image that I just loaded, and I've got it here in Microsoft Paint just so I can look at it. And I want to just zoom in a bit so we can see, what's going on around these letters. So there's a lot of anti-aliasing going on here. So we've got, lots of pinks and purples and things like that. And even the interior of these letters is not a constant color. So there's some shading going on in there. If you had multiple shades of purple in your palette, you could end up with possibly with some splotches of dark purple in here, and things like that. So, it looks perfectly simple when you just look at the text and the pixels are very small, but to the digitizer, it has to figure out, how it's going to have a larger cell that it's going to put over something here. Well, it's going to have several pixels inside it, and it's got to figure out what color each one of those cells is going to be. And so these colors on the edges can play into things, and it can also be doing cells that are overlapping the white area and the color area and trying to figure out what color that would be. And so you can end up with a lot of in-between colors when we're doing this. Okay, and when we set the max number of colors to 2 here to try and get to 2, then what happens is those in-between colors, which are in this case are going to be a lot of light pink and light purple colors, those are going to end up generally going to white because they're going to be light and they're going to be closer to white than they are to the pansy purple. So actually what we want to do here is just increase this just a little bit to 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that colors. Let's try 8 and see how that comes out. Okay, and then you'll notice that we're getting a little bit of fuzziness like around the outside of these letters now from some of the pink on the edges and things like that. And we're getting, a lot of pinks and purples and stuff that go along the edge. We're getting 2 whites here that are being used. Let's just get rid of one of them. You can just click on the color if you don't want to see it, and it will go away. And then, so we'll turn that one off. And then the other colors here, what I'm going to do is something that I did in a previous demo where I was showing how to deal with a black line on the outside that can be sort of fuzzy. This is kind of the same kind of situation. And what I'm going to do is substitute these colors to either white or purple, one or the other. If they're really, really light, like this misty gray, I would say I'm going to pick white, and I'm going to pick used here. So let's do paper white. And these ones, I think we're going to go with purple. And you might have to try this a couple of times and see which ones the text looks better um, at, whether whether you want to make something white or purple. And then I don't remember what I did with this one, whether I made it purple or not. Let's try that, or made it white. It's really light. Maybe I'll just do that. I think I end up with a little gap here, but if I leave that purple, then I end up with lines between some of the letters and stuff. So, the really light things, maybe make them the white, and the things that you want to turn into the other color, make those the purple in this case. Okay, then we think we got it. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do here. Now, if you don't want to do the substitution in here, you can always just come out into the editor and then do the substitution like I showed in the previous video, that you can do the substitution outside when you're editing in Grid Designer, and I'm going to show that in a second too. So okay, so we've set everything here. I think we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and create our project here. I'm going to save it for now. Now there's going to be some cleanup to do here, because that's always going to be the case. We're taking those little tiny pixels and we're putting them into larger cells, and we're trying to figure out where they go. So we're going to do some editing on this. Now, kind of like the T look with a little bit of a shape like that. I think that's nice. I'm just editing with the purple and the white. This one I'm using, since I have a mouse, I'm going to be able to do left click for the purple and right click for the white, which makes it go pretty fast, and if you want to just touch up things like that. Now, in some cases, you'll have letters that are the same, and you can maybe select this P and put it over that P. That might be a nice thing to do. So there's two ways to select these letters. You can do it with the rectangular selection down here, and that will work, most of the time, unless the letters are kind of overlapping one another. But you can also select them with this single color motif selection here. So this, when we when we select this, then all we have to do is click on the letter that we want to get. Okay, I turn these helps on again. Um, so all we have to do is go up here and pick on this P. Okay, and then I'm going to say copy it, and then I'm going to say paste it. Okay, and now I have this P that's floating around on here. And you can see it's got transparent background. I can put it over this P here. And I need to decide where I'm going to put it. I guess I'll put it about like that. Maybe, I'm not sure if it wants to be over one more or not. Let's see. I will try it there. Okay, and then before you paste it, because you want to fill in areas where the letters are not completely overlapping, you can come down here and you can toggle the background on. So this button on the left side here toggles the background on and off in the selection. So we can turn that background on so it will cover up whatever was underneath it. And now we have that P there too. And if I wanted to do the same thing like with the letter A, I could go over here and I could select the letter A like that. I do this copy, then paste. I bring it over here and put it over this letter A, which doesn't quite fit perfectly. See, which place do I want to put it? I guess over that way. I could turn on the background and I can put it there. And then there are a couple of things down here in the bottom, that I can clean up like that. The same thing for the T's. You could copy those over or whatever. You can also use the selection tool, like this rectangular selection like this. And let's see, maybe I'll pick this R down here and say copy, paste. When you do it with a rectangular selection, then it starts with the background all filled in. You can always toggle it off and on with this toggle switch down here too. I'm just going to put that over this other R, do it like that. So now they're the same. Maybe fix that right there. Okay. So you can do some cleanup and editing and that kind of thing like that. Now, another way you could do this, let's go back to our create from image. Okay, since we haven't refreshed the browser, we still have our stuff in here that we were digitizing. And now let's go in and we'll clear out these substitutions that we had in here. I'm still going to turn off the extra white, and then I'm going to go out and create that. Okay. So now we're going to see all of our purples and that kind of thing. Okay. So two ways you can deal with this, depending upon, what you like to use or whatever. You could go into substitution up here and substitute all the colors. You can also use the edge tool. Let me show you the edge tool real quick first, because that will also work for this and will do a lot of things. So we'll go in here, we'll pick our edge tool, and just like we did with the other and some of the previous videos that I did, I'm going to set the foreground color to the color that I'm going to click on, and then I'm going to set the background color to the other side of the edge. So I'm looking at cleaning up the edge between purple and white. That's what I want to do. And so I'm going to click on, I should have a little fill bucket thing, but I'm going to click on the purple here, and then I'm going to click, if I click multiple times, it will keep spreading out till we get to an area where it's not thinking that it's dealing with an edge. So we can do that. But you can clean up the letters a lot like that. So I'm clicking and then clicking again, and it does more and more. And then since it's a fill thing, we're just going to fill in some more over here. Okay. So like that. So you can use that, and you can use that to fill in a lot of the letters, and that will work pretty well. And then you can also go in here and do the substitution, and just go in here. I would click on used, click the purple, and we'll just substitute all the things that we substituted for purple before. Let's see, I think we left this one as white, and we went this one as white, I think, too, and this one as purple, and this one as purple. And then we've got it, and then we convert pattern, and then we've got the rest of it like that. And then there's still that little bit of cleanup to do. Okay, now another thought, if you want to have, a nice font or something and you want to create some text for that, the Grid Designer has a text tool. So I'm going to show you that too. So we're going to do project, new. So instead of from create from image, we're going to say new project. Okay. And that lets you pick the same kinds of things. You pick your latch hook project, 5 holes per inch, and then you pick the rows and columns that you want in here. This is all filling in from what was previously sitting there. So this is going to create something the same size as what we just had. And it already had the palette selected too, but you could set all of those things separately too. We go out and say create project. Now because our background was white, it'll be white in the new one. But if you do need to set the background, you can set the background color up here and then click on this clear all down here at the bottom, and that will clear the background, the entire background for you. You can also use the fill bucket, of course, and just fill it in to whatever you want it to be. But we've got our letter color here in our foreground. This is going to be our letter color, and this is going to be our background. Then there's a text tool down here. We pick on the text tool, and if it's the first time you selected the text tool, then a little pop-up dialog will come up, and it'll tell you to drag a rectangular area across the screen. So we're going to put our mouse down over here and just make a little area to where our text is going to be. And I let go of the mouse, and when we let go of the mouse, then this changes down here, and we can type in our text. This was already in here from what I was doing before. Usually it starts with ABC. So I've got pattern in here, and this is what I decided to pick. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so something like that. So I've got PT Serif and 20. Now there's a lot of different other fonts in here, so you want to look at, what's there. There's even some scripts, some cursive fonts and some things like that. But this is the one that's closest to what I was doing before. So and when you want to apply this, when you're done, you can apply it by clicking on the blue. And so we got that. And it only does one line at a time. So let's go back in, and we want to. I knew I set that with PT Serif, and it was set to 20. Okay, and then we want to change this to party. Okay, so there's party, and we'll kind of center that down underneath there. And then we'll click on the blue icon again. So this is an alternative. The text tool is an alternative. Now, just so you know, as I was doing this today, I noticed that there is a bug in here which is a little annoying. Inside the text tool, sometimes there's a pop-up that will come up and say something is undefined. So I'll be working on trying to fix that. But that may be, you may see that. Not sure why that's coming up. But anyway, so if you go in the text tool, that might be an issue at the moment, and I'll be trying to fix that in the next few days. So that's about it. Those are kind of the options for getting text, digitizing it, or possibly putting it in yourself with a text tool. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.